back again in the driver's seat after being kicked out by my good friend GoToWebinar, stabbed in the back. But now I'm back. Thanks everybody for waiting. Let's just make sure you can hear me, and I apologize up front for I apologize right away for any dramas. Are we back, everybody? Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Walt. Appreciate that. Woohoo! You got kicked out as well. I do apologize. Thanks everybody for being back. I'm really glad you're here. Let's kick off, shall we? Dude, this session is going to be so good. Really, really pumped about it. As you know, our topic today is about how to preload your year. And so a couple of years ago, I sat down with a good friend of mine. His name's Dale Beaumont. And those of you in Black Belt who've been around for a while or based in Australia, you probably heard me talk about Dale, and you may have even met him or seen him on the videos. He's an incredible guy, a great friend of mine, and he's also possibly the most organized, strategic person I've ever met in my life, right? Everything's planned out years and years and, like years in advance, not like weeks in advance or months in advance, but literally years in advance. And so a couple of years ago, I sat down with Dale and planned out my calendar for 2012. And, it was a really, really simple process. That once I learned, I've been able to do every year since. And so in 2012, we had our best year ever. And at the end of 2012, in sort of early November or maybe mid-November, I sat down again with a blank calendar. And business had grown, and I knew that there were some tweaks we'd need to make if I wanted to increase the amount of impact that we were having on the world, increase the amount of independence and free time we had, and increase the amount of income that we made. And so there were some tweaks we made to the calendar, and I sat down and mapped out the tweaks for for the year and for 2013. And 2013 has been our best year, record year in terms of money and meeting and freedom. And so I've sat down with my team in the Philippines about a month ago. We just missed that typhoon by 11 hours. And we mapped out 2014, and it's looking like it's going to be just an incredible year. There's so much we've got planned to make Black Belt better for you. So many great things planned, some really amazing adventures and holidays and new events and different ways to bring value. And it all comes down to this one idea of at the start of the year, before the start of the year, having a year finished. And so, if you've been around me for the last couple of weeks, you've noticed that we've been talking about how to, getting you to run how to make next year your best year ever marketing campaign. Well, what I want to do right now is I don't want to run the marketing campaign. I just want to set you up so that next year really is your best year ever. And it's called how to preload your year. So I just want to double check my little GoToWebinar control panel just to make sure that we're all good and there's no weirdness going on. Yep, we're all good. And there's no weirdness going on. That's a great combination. We don't like weirdness. So we're going to talk right now about how to preload your year, how to make it a truly extraordinary year, a year that gives you more money than this year did and the year before did, a year that gives you more meaning than this year and last year did. So you have a real sense of satisfaction, like, wow, what I did mattered. Look how much of a difference I made. Your business has grown. You've changed lives and impacted people. So you're making more money. You're having, getting much more kind of meaning, satisfaction, and contribution. And you've also got a ton more freedom than this year as well. And so just as I get into it, I just want to let you know, if you weren't on any of the clients by Christmas or lose clients over Christmas webinars, just wanted to let you know that in Black Belt members, we've loaded up some really good stuff for you. Firstly, there's a campaign that you can run right now before Christmas. You can also run it in the middle of January and in the first week of February, and it's the marketing campaign for how to make 2014 in this case, how do we make next year your best year yet? And so if you want to run this campaign, then the emails are there to send. There's a workbook and slides that you can model from. All of the pieces that you need are loaded up into Black Belt members. And if you've got one-on-one clients right now, or even if you run a group program like your Black Belt, there are some things you should be doing right now to keep your clients loving it, happy, winning, and stuck to you like glue over Christmas. And so yesterday I ran a webinar called What to Do If You Don't Want to Lose Clients Over Christmas. Super practical, really, really good training. But underneath it comes a 5-part, 5 short videos. They're sort of 10 or 15 minutes each with a quick exercise at the end, things you can do with your clients to not just have them, retain and stay with you for next year, but actually have them recommit and step up and be even better next year than they were this year, right? That's pretty cool. And so I just want to let you know they're inside Black Belt members right now ready for you. Is that cool? Coach marketing members get those same programs as well, but for them, they get dripped out 1 week at a time over 5 weeks, which is cool. It's part of my retention strategy for them over Christmas. But for you, I don't want you to wait. I don't want you to get it dripped out. I just want to give it to you right now. So Jim Donovan is saying he can't hear me. Is there anyone else who can't hear me right now? Dude, if you can't hear me, how are you going to hear that question? What do you say? I guess what I'm trying to say is, can you guys hear me? Everyone else is good. Beautiful. Thanks. What a stupid question. All right. So let's get into preloading 2014. So the first thing I'd love you to do, if you haven't already, is to get hold of the blank 2014 calendar template. And you can download it from Black Belt members right now, and I'm going to give you a link. If you haven't already, it'd be great if you could download this. It'd be doubly amazing if you could print a copy out. Here's the... You know what? Let me just get the link direct to the file itself. I'm going to give you 2 links right now. This is the link to the client calendar. In other words, all of our Black Belt activities for next year. And this one here is the link to the blank calendar for you. So if you haven't got both of those, grab them right now. We've got, first up, we've got our client calendar for next year, which is our intensives in Sydney and in California. The Black Belt webinars like we're on right now that are in orange. Light sort of lime green here are our critique sessions, our implementation hour. The Q&As happen over 2 days, as you know, kind of Friday and Friday morning, Thursday night here in Australia. So that's kind of these little circles which overlap 2 days. And in blue are the $1 Million Coach Intensives, which, as you know, is a really high-value 2-day event designed to introduce people to Black Belt. And I've left them in your calendar so that if you want to come and check one out, you're more than welcome to come and watch how I teach and sell over a 2-day event. I'd love love to have you there. Frankly, it'd be good to hang out. If you've got something great to say, it'd be great if you kind of be there for social proof and to let everybody know, what you love. But if you want to come and just learn and kind of see behind the scenes how we do this, I think that'd be super valuable. So they're available for you as well. So just let me know that you're good to go, and we'll be rocking and rolling. Yeah, lots of GDGs. Beautiful. All right, so let's jump into this. So 4 weeks ago in the Philippines, I sat down with a blank calendar and my team. And we took it from looking like this to my whole of next year planned out. And I want you to do the same. We're going to do it together right now. Green holidays, because freedom's really important. And so roughly, if you look at it, sort of roughly, we've got 2 months on, 1 month off, 2 months on, 1 month off. That's sort of a vibe. That's kind of how we've built it. Black are our Black Belt events. All of the webinars are there, both delivery webinars and sales webinars. And also these tribal councils, if you can see in August, the kind of orange, 3, 4, 5, 6 of August, and December, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we've got Tribal Council, which is me working with my team in the Philippines again. It was a blast, and we got so much done, so we're going to do that again. And then in December, looks like I might fly them over to Sydney. And if you're a Black Belt in Sydney, you might get to meet them at the Black Belt Intensive at the end of November, which is going to be kind of cool. Anyway, so what I want us to work on is yours. And before we get into the how, let's quickly get into the, here's why I think this is right, so important, and why now's the time to do it. First things first. I don't know how your year was, but lots of the coaches I talked to have worked really hard this year. And working really hard is fantastic. When exertion is kind of coupled with results, so it's kind of worth it, and with rejuvenation, so you feel fresh. If you don't, then you just feel kind of tired and exhausted. And I don't know how you're feeling right now as we head into Christmas, but I met a coach the other day who just said, you know what? I feel completely burnt out. Actually, great guy, really, really smart cat. I feel really, really tired. My brain's dead, and I just can't wait to switch off on Friday, was his exact words. So, if you're coming to the end of the year kind of tired because you worked hard, well, great to work hard, but let's get some extra rejuvenation into your year next year. And also let's get, let's make sure that the work you do is the right work, the smart work, and actually pays off. At the start of the year, I set three major business goals, and we hit two. And we came really close on I hit the two big ones, the kind of the ones which I was most important about, and the one which was, I had two musts and a like to, and I didn't make the like to as much of a priority as it should have been or could have been, and so I hit 2 out of 3. I hit the most important ones and overachieved on one, but the third one I missed. So I don't know about you, but if you didn't hit all your goals, cool. Let's make sure next year is fantastic. The third big problem that I think people have is that you go away for Christmas right now, and here down in the southern hemisphere, it's our big summer holiday, right? And so lots of people go away for the break and then come back in mid-January, rub their eyes a little blearily, kind of try to shrug off a big Christmas, New Year, alcohol and food season. Wonder, oh, that's right, I'm a coach. That's right, I run this business. And it takes them a couple of weeks to get going. And so you lose momentum. And what we want to do is we want to make sure January is preloaded. But we also want to make sure that February, March, April, all the way through, every single month, you know what to do. It just gives you a ton of clarity. The other problem that I think that the calendar really fixes is this. I think there is a lot of confusion going on, not black belt confusion, but coach confusion about, should I do this or should I try that? Or, maybe I should try this new thing. Oh, wow, this is kind of new shiny thing. Number 3's just been launched and that looks exciting. So I'll go buy that. There's just so much confusion. You get pulled this way and that way and this way and that way by everybody else. And so as coaches, we're kind of like blind mice running around in a maze, desperately looking for cheese, but just kind of getting confused and bumping into wall after wall after wall. And so you keep kind of second guessing yourself. And so here's what I want you to do. There's going to be no second guessing in 2014. What we're going to do is we're going to make the decisions today so that in 2014, you don't need to decide or think or choose or do any, like the thinking is the hard work. The doing is easy. So I want to set up the year so that today we make all the decisions we need. And next year, there's no deciding to be done. There's just doing, following through on the decisions we made. Does that make sense? Just checking in. Are you following me so far? Do you understand the idea of like deciding now and following through later? Grant, yes, I do. Yeah, so you get that, right? Otherwise, we're partway through the year saying, oh, maybe I should try this, maybe I should try that. The reason this year has been our best year yet, partly is because I've met amazing people like you, but I wouldn't have even met amazing people like you if I hadn't have made the decision the year before to put myself in a position to meet you. Does that make sense? So we don't want to be deciding on the fly. Here's the rule. We're going to decide now, and then 2014, there's going to be no more decisions. We're just going to do the decisions that we made today. Cool. So today's going to be kind of a big day. And what I would suggest you do is, depending on what you've got on straight after this webinar, it might be a good idea either today or tomorrow to book out at least, I'd say 2 50-minute sessions to tidy up your calendar and get it nailed. Even if you spent 2 days on this, it'll be the best 2 days you've ever spent. I don't think you'll need to, but put aside some time just to confirm it and lock it in. So here's the alternative. Instead of like hitting some of your goals and hodgepodging the others and missing them a little bit, I want you to smash your goals. I want you to, to end next year, feeling victorious. Number 2, I want you to feel energized, not burnt out or tired or exhausted, but I want you to hit the end of the year going, wow, what an amazing year. Right? Not burnt, but like pretty excited. Like right now, I'm jazzed about 2014. I'm feeling really great about 2013. I'd love you to feel like that as well. Instead of having like an empty calendar for next year, our goal is really simple. It's to preload it so next year you can kind of just, strap on the jetpack and go. And our goal is here's the kind of the feeling I want you to have as you look forward to next year. I don't want you to feel unsure or second guess yourself anymore. I want you to feel just incredibly certain and excited about the journey. And that's, honestly, my heart for you is that you just have an incredible confidence about 2014. And so they're my reasons why I think preloading your new year is so important. But I want to know what your reasons are. So can you do me a favor and just type in, 2 or 3 reasons? It's going to give you 20 or 30 seconds to do it. Why do you want to preload your next year? And while you do that, I'm just going to have a quick sip of my tea right here. What do you want to preload your next year? Just type it in the question box for me if you would. I'd love to hear what your reasons are. You know what I've just learned? Not all tea is created equal. I love peppermint tea. I love licorice tea. I don't like that tea at all. That's disgusting. That's totally gross. Why do you want to preload your year? Right. Dan wants to get 100% return. Sorry, a 1,000% return on planning. Totally right. Oh, Lisa's saying, can I have the calendar links again, please? Yes, totally can. Here we go. So that's the blank calendar and the other calendar, which is this one. I think I just sent that again, Lisa. Hopefully you should have that. Anil says, yeah, it appeals to my C. Yes, totally right. I just don't want to take on too much, says Edward. Gives me clarity, says John. Avoid bright and shiny objects. You know what? Bright and shiny is cool, but it's about simplification. The big key for next year is for you to do a lot less things, and to, is to have more a clearer intention, less things having your attention, and increasing your implementation. Yeah, helps me prioritize what to get off my plate. Carrie, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So it's plug and play. Exactly. It gives me confidence, clarity. So it's set. I don't have to think about it. I just make it happen. Exactly, Greg. Gives you direction and focus for 2014. Makes you more money. It's going to take out the guesswork and just focus on doing now. Exactly. And so one of the things I'm conscious on, because because you've got your plan, and then the person next to you in Black Belt has got their plan and it's slightly different. I teach how to webinar and how to live event sell and how to one-on-one sell. And you probably need one of those, not three. And then I teach how to generate leads with partnerships, and how to generate leads with paid traffic, and how to generate leads with authority marketing. And you probably need one of those, not three. Does that make sense? So I want you to, today we're going to pick, and we're going to do a lot less. Make a bigger difference to me and to my clients. Be super organized, Stephen. Totally agree. Ellen, to avoid getting distracted and jumping around. Bill, to make the hard decisions right now. Yeah, I mean, if you've made the hard decisions now, then everything else is gravy. Dan's telling me to try Greek tea from Sparta. I think I should. If it makes me a little bit like Leonidas or something like that, I'm totally all about that. More certainty of income, which means I'll sleep better. Totally. Yeah, right. Leverage, baby. Leverage, has Mike. I want my life this time next year to look very different to how it does right now. Yes, Nicole. And it's going to require organization from day one and me to bring your A game in 2014. Exactly. Yeah. Cameron saying, how would you schedule in partnership webinars, for example, that are likely to happen but haven't been locked in yet? Would you schedule anything in regards to following up to get them locked in, or leave it blank? Yeah, Cameron, what I do is I actually book in the slots for joint venture webinars, and then Tom's job is to fill each of those spots. So he's got 2 a month, and Tom's job in his partnership role with me is to put names in each of those little boxes. So yeah, I lock them in, and I commit to the time, and then he fills them. Cam, you're totally welcome. All right, bro. Let's go, team. Let's do this. Hey, I'm pumped. So I want to give you 5 keys right now to really make sure you smash this, and then we're going to get deep into the how-to. By the way, that calendar that you've all downloaded now, and you have downloaded it, right? That calendar. If you've got a printer, print it out. A couple of copies, it'd be great. You just need one now, but you probably want to. You do a rough one now, and then kind of tidy it up after. If you can print it, awesome. If you can't, it's totally okay. But if you could, it'd be amazing. Okay, so 5 keys for preloading your year. Number 1, cash flow follows your calendar. Your cash flow will follow your calendar. Here's the thing. I get people all the time asking me for marketing advice, and a few times a quarter, I get flown in like a marketing SWAT team to do a half day, one-on-one with somebody. So it's either half day for $5,000 or it's a full day for 10. And when I get there, they clear out the boardroom or the office or the wherever we're meeting. They get me a cup of tea or whatever it is, and then they say, "Listen, I've brought along a collection of all of my collateral." And so they want to show me their ads and their webinar registration pages and all their stuff. And I'm like, "This is all great, and I'll have a look at that later. But right now, I want to see your calendar. And people are shocked. And then, why do you want to see my calendar? Well, because I'll know within 30 seconds of seeing a calendar whether marketing is a priority for you or not, because your cash flow will follow your calendar. If you have a look at your bank balance this year, and then you compare it to the calendar you've had, you'll see, hey, there's a correlation. The amount of money, meaning, and freedom you have next year will be in direct correlation to what goes in your calendar today. Is this making sense? If you want your cash flow to go up, there needs to be certain activities, the right activities, at the right frequency in your calendar now. And if you don't do that, if you wait for it to if you leave it to chance or ad hoc, then your calendar will be ad hoc and your cash flow will be, ad hoc and messy as well. Cool? So your cash flow is going to follow your calendar. All I'm saying right now is this. If you want your numbers to go up, then we need to make sure that when we look at your calendar and do reality check, which is going to be step 6 of our action steps, when we do the reality check, we're instantly going to know, hey, if they're my goals, does my calendar have a chance of delivering on my goals? And if it doesn't, we need to retool your calendar. Get your calendar right and your cash flow will follow. Number 1. Number 2, drive your diary. Okay, there's 3 places you can be if your car was a business, there's 3 places you can be right now, 3 kind of locations you can be. The perfect place, of course, is the driver's seat. You want to be in the driver's seat, calling the shots, steering the direction, making things happen. Most coaches aren't in the driver's seat at all. Lots of them are in the passenger seat. Not happy with where they're going and whinging about the direction that the driver's taking them, unaware that they've kind of abdicated the driver's seat and kind of moved into the back. Kind of on the back seat behind the driver, trying to give directions and not having any kind of control. If you're just talking about what you want different, but you're not actually holding the wheel, then we're in trouble. Some coaches are in the, in the boot or in the trunk, bound and gagged, kicking and screaming, being led in a direction they don't, not of your choosing. If that's you, I just want to let you know that right in your key right now, right in your pocket right now, there's a key or a button you can press, which will stop the car, pop the trunk, release the tape and the rope, so you can just hop out, jump back in the driver's seat. Nobody's holding you prisoner right now. You're the one who's in control of your diary. So here's the thing. Next year, the question isn't, will your diary be full? That's a given. The question is not, will your diary be full? The question is, who will fill your diary? It'll either be you on purpose today, or it'll be other people with their agendas all through the year. You've got to be the one. You've got to get out of the trunk or the boot. You've got to get out of the passenger seat and get back into the driver's seat. Just quickly right now, if you go, if I look back at 2013, this year, if you look back at the year that's just gone, have I been in the driver's seat or the passenger seat or the boot? By the way, in America, Americans, Canadians, etc., we call the trunk, we call it the boot. So I'm going to try to stop doing cross-cultural languaging and just call it the boot. Have you been in the driver's seat, the passenger seat, or the boot? Just going to give you 10 seconds right now to type in your answer. Where have you been? Pauline, I put myself in the boot. Right. Grant says, I've been on the roof holding on like a madman. Totally. Oh, crap. I hopped around between the driver's seat and the boot. Exactly. Sometimes we forget. We start off in the driver's seat and then somehow we kind of, we kind of have one of those like, driver's naps and wake up in the boot. Ellen says, I've been straddling the console. Exactly. Clients have been in the driver's seat. I've been in the passenger seat. Driver's seat. A little bit of passenger seat for the first half of the year, but I've definitely been driving for the last few months. High five to you, Nicole. Let's keep that going. David says, I've been chasing the car. I've been all 3 different times. Dan says, I've been in the driver's seat with a shotgun. Oh, with shotgun, right. Hiding in the back seat with my eyes closed. Andrea, see, that's the problem here. Backseat window hanging out like a dog. Right. Okay. So can I just ask you a question? If you are ready to just get into the driver's seat and stay there for the year, just raise your hand so I know that that's where we're going to play from now on. Is that cool? Yes, exactly. Perfect. Thank you. I'm going to put the hands down. So here's the thing. Drive your diary. If you won't drive your diary, somebody else will. It's not, will my calendar be full? It's who will fill my calendar. And I want that person to be you. The name on the fill the calendar role in your org chart of your company should be your name. Okay, drive your diary. Get in control of this thing. You get to you're the boss, dude. You get to call how you want it, and let them figure their own stuff out. Yeah, I want you to be in charge. Number 3. So what we're really doing right now is we are eliminating distractions and shutting down options that will take you off course. What we're doing is we're laying down one train track. Today is like decide where the train track's going to go and lay the track day. Next year, you're in the train. The good news is once you've got a train track, you don't have to think anymore. You just roll down the tracks in the right direction. You can't accidentally get bumped off to the left or the right. You just do your path. Okay? It's not like a road or an intersection with 50 different directions. It's a train track here. You can't jump off the tracks. You're on the tracks. So we're going to think once. We're not going to think again and again and again in a multitude of little thoughts, distractions, and worries. We're going to decide today, and we're going to stick to our plan for 12 months. My friend Dale taught me. He had this great plan for 2012 last year. Or so he thought. And halfway through the year, he realized that he sells his program with a 2-day live event. A 2-day live event. And halfway through the year, he realized that 2 days was a big chunk of time because he does 4 tours a year. So that's that's eight days per city, and he does 4 cities. So it's effectively 4 city tours a year. Each one of them is 2 days. It's a ton of time plus travel. It was taking him, effectively almost a month a year of away time from his fam, and he didn't like that. But halfway through the year, he noticed that. He knew that he could have changed his calendar for the rest of the year and made them all 1-day events. But he'd already decided at the start of the year, or kind of at the end of the year before, that he was going to do the 2-day events. So what he decided was, next year I'm going to make it 1 day, but this year I'm going to stick to my plan. And his rule of thumb is that commitment to the strategy is more important than the strategy itself. Okay, that's his approach. So what I would say is we're going to decide once, and then next year, when all of the great ideas and bright, shiny objects come up, you're going to say, that's awesome. A really good idea. I'm going to put that on my list to check out next year. But right now, I'm just going to work my plan. We're going to think once. David Allen, who wrote the great book, Getting Things Done, said that, knowledge workers have the hardest time of all because we're effectively not really told what to do by anyone. Like if you're a factory worker, you don't think. You just press, if you're in a factory that cranks makes widgets, your job is to crank widgets all day. You just kind of, you get hammer, hit nail, get hammer, hit nail, get hammer, hit nail. And as menial as that sounds, there's a beauty about not having to think and stress so much. Because we've got a bunch more freedom, there's a lot of opportunity for us to get distracted and end up doing, rethinking all the time or overanalyzing, when really what we need to do is just crank widgets and do the one thing. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to lay down one train track for the whole of next year, and we're going to stick to it for the year. Do you remember the idea of the rule of 5 ones? The rule of 5 ones, right? We're going to pick one target market that we love and really want to serve. Number 2, we're going to have one product that we know gets results for clients that we stand behind. Not 5 target markets and 6 products. 1 target market and 1 product. Right? We're going to simplify it down. We're going to do some pruning right now. Number 3 are now 5 ones. We're going to have one conversion tool that consistently converts prospects into clients. That might be a one-on-one sales appointment for you. It might be a one-on-one sales appointment for you. It might be a live event, a seminar or a workshop, or it might be a webinar. We're going to have one main conversion tool that consistently converts prospects into clients. Not 50, 1. Our 4th one is we're going to focus on one lead generation source, one traffic source that can scale. So 1 target market, 1 product, not 5 target markets, 7 products. 1 conversion tool, 1 traffic source. And what was the 5th one? Can you remember the 5th one? If you can, just type it in. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. What was the 5th of the 5 ones? 1 year. That's exactly right. What are we going to do for the 1 year? We're going to tweak it and optimize it and make it work for 1 year. Because if you try to do 72 things, you don't have enough cycle times, enough goes at it for you to tweak it and craft and perfect it and make it better. So if you go, you know what, I'm going to do my program, it's 10 grand and this is what it's called. It helps builders to do X. The way I'm going to get traffic is going to be, joint ventures, let's say, and I'm going to put them into a webinar where I sell my stuff. That's your 4 ones. The 5th one is every time I do this, I'm going to tweak it, review it, and make it better and better and better. We're going to think once, and we're going to do less and less and less. It's a train track, not a 6-lane freeway with lots of exits. Cool. Number 4, we're going to milestone the money making. This is huge. You know what? Out of all the activities, I'm ridiculously passionate about today's topic. I hope you can tell. Out of all the activities you could do, every possible thing that could go into the calendar, there are some things which matter way more than others. There are some things which, in terms of return on energy, are going to give you a much bigger bang for buck. And so the biggest thing we're going to do is we're going to do, like Stephen Covey said, we're going to put the big rocks in first. Did you see that video I put up? I sent you an email about it late last night, so if you missed it, it's totally okay. And chucked it in the Facebook group. Who saw that video? Just hands up if you saw that. The little, Stephen Covey big rocks. Yeah, lots of us did, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to milestone the money making. We're going to take the big rocks and we're going to put them in first. And so the biggest of the big rocks is what's the one activity that brings you most of your, that generates most of your business, most of your income? What's the thing that you use to sell stuff is basically what I'm asking. Is that an event for you? Is that a webinar for you? Is it a one-on-one appointment for you? Whatever it is, that's what I want you to be focused on. Cool? So we're going to milestone the money making. We're going to put those money making activities in the calendar first before everything else. Why? Well, then, no matter what happens, you've got your money plan. Cool? So we're going to milestone the money making first. Then we're going to put in the pebbles, which is going to be what do I need to do to deliver to clients? The thing that I promised and sold I know this is backwards for lots of people. It's like, well, most people start with clients first and then I'll take care of me second. No. You've got to be your own best client. If you're going to be your own best client, you want to look after, number one, if you don't look after you won't be around long enough to look after them. So we're going to put in the money making activities first and the delivery activities second, right? Third, we're going to put in the sand. The sand is everything else. We're going to start with the big stuff first so that no matter what else happens, your business grows, you're taken care of, and you're around to take care of them. Milestone the money making. And number 5, then it's time to work the plan. Then it's, you know what? My decisions are made. My calendar's locked in. I'm going to just do the plan. Okay? And that's fun. That's liberating. You don't have to think anymore. You can just be like a doing machine. It's kind of cool. So here's what I want to know. Out of those 5, your cash flow follows your calendar, right? If you lead the calendar, the cash flow will follow. If you want the cash flow to go up, then build a calendar that guarantees that will happen. Number 2, drive your diary. Don't be in the boot. Don't be in the passenger seat. Grant, for goodness sake, get off the rooftop. That's a dangerous spot to be, right? Especially at the speeds that we want to go next year. Get in the driver's seat and stay there. Think once. We're going to map out the train track for you and stick to the plan. We're going to work the 5 ones and not overcomplicate. We're going to cut off options and just do the one thing that makes the biggest difference. Number 4, we're going to milestone the money making. Put in the high dollar value activities. The thing that brings you the most money is going to be in your calendar first. Everything else is going to sort itself out around that. Okay? And then 5th, once the plan's done, we can breathe. We can turn our calendar into a PDF. We can print it out, stick it on our wall, and not mess with that sucker. We're just going to do the plan. We're going to have commitment to the strategy is more important than the strategy itself. So here's my question for you. Of those 5, which one personally resonated with you the most? Which one are you most excited about? Which one do you think is going to make the biggest difference for you and why? Going to give you 10 seconds right now. Actually, I might give you longer. I'll give you 20 seconds. Which one of those was most valuable for you and why? Which one of those was most valuable for you and why? Dan says, good stuff. Leanne says, I love the rule of 5 ones. Yes, so liberating. Totally agree. Dan says, think once. That's right. You stick to the plan. Love that. Walt says, what were the 5 ones again? Yeah. I'll give them to you. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll flip over to my iPad right now, and I'll draw them for you. Okay, or I thought I would. Let's try that one more time. There we are. Okay, rule of 5 ones. All right. By the way, our magic number is 1. If this was a Greek temple, at the top would be a shrine, an altar to the number 1, right? Here's what we've got. We've got 1 target market. One kind of person that wants our help, that we love and we want to serve. Okay. Next, we've got 1 product or 1 service. Okay, that you know gets results. That you can go into bat for, that you can proudly tell the world about and say, get my stuff because it'll change your life. Right? 1 product. Not 50, 1. Next, we've got 1 conversion tool that consistently converts prospects into clients. Webinar, workshop, one-on-one appointment, whatever it is for you, I want you to pick 1. We've got 1 lead source that can scale, right? It's going to be paid, it's going to be partnership, or it's going to be SEO, authority marketing, right? So that's the first 4 ones, and they're critical. The 5th one is this. By the way, our kind of magic formula is, here's the goal, right? It's 5 ones equals $1 million. Okay, that's the goal. So 1 target market, 1 product, 1 conversion tool, 1 lead source that scales, and all we do next is we tweak it for 1 year. So that when you do review and improve each time, you've only got 1. Effectively, what do? You can make your product better, for sure. The target market is locked in, doesn't change. Your product is effectively the product. And so all we do is now, every time you run your sales webinar or your live event, you make it a little bit better, right? You do it, review it, improve it. Every time you run your Facebook ad or your direct mail campaign or your joint venture program, you do it, you review it, and improve it. And when you do that for 12 months, here's what happens. Your results just get infinitely better. That's the plan. Does that help? Bruce Wilson says, cash flow follows the calendar is the key for me. Got to drive my diary, says Carrie. Keep it simple. Rule of 5 ones. Sales events in first, says Nick. Think once, few projects, few companies. Yep. Think once. Cash flow follows my calendar. I've proven this in my other business. Now it's time to do this in my coaching business. Scott, 100% right. Having the calendar locked and loaded. Think once. Milestone to money making. Focus on the money making activities first. Put them in, and everything else will kind of fit around. Think 1 time. Get some wicked shiny object. You get wicked shiny objects when you're not organized enough. Yeah, so shiny objects are going to be, that's cool, but I hope you notice that this PDF, this calendar is in a PDF. That means you can't edit it. Yeah, that's the goal, right? Drive my diary. It will be full, no doubt, for sure. If the activities match the goals, then if the activities don't match the goals, I can't draw in the money, Bruce. Exactly. Think once, set the direction, and go. Focus on the 5 ones. Yes. Perfect. Train tracks are liberating. Think once because I'm always thinking of new stuff. Yeah, and that's cool, dude. But here's the job. Once we've decided, then you're going to have a big fat list called, we've talked about this, right? Which is where all the great ideas go. Because someday, maybe you'll get around to it. Right now, your job is to focus on the train tracks. Cool? Less is more, like that. Yes. Cool. All right. I think we're kind of, I think we're on track. So let's talk about how. So hopefully right now you've got your calendar. If you haven't already downloaded your 2000 and your kind of your next year's calendar, then here is a link. I'm just going to paste it one final time. There's two links. One is for the client calendar for next year. I hope you'll love that. And the second one is for your calendar for next year. So here's our system. All right. So please, we're going to take some notes, then we're going to jump into the calendar. Where's the best way? Here's the best place to start. Okay, so there are 9 steps. 9 simple steps we're going to follow. By the way, if 9 feels like a lot to you, don't worry. It's just 3 threes. We'll get along just fine. Okay. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do 3 pieces of thinking. Right. If we get the thinking right, then everything else will kind of take care of itself. So that's about making some decisions and being ready. Then we're going to do our actual planning. So we're going to think, then we're going to plan, and then we're going to do. Okay, think, plan, do. Really simple. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these one by one, and at the end of each one, I'm going to pause and I'm going to get you to do it, to actually kind of start to implement this stuff. And by the way, if today I can get you started on each of these so that you've got progress and momentum, then we'll completely smash it together. Does that make sense? So you don't have to have it finished in the next 45 minutes. You just need to have the big stuff done and know exactly what to do for part 2. Okay. All right. So 9 steps. Let's start with think. First thing we need to think about is outcomes. Really simple. What do you want next year to bring you? If you had a realistic magic wand right now, what do you want next year to bring you? And I'm just going to give you a simple question. If it had to be measurable, so it's by end next year, end of year, I want. So let's go. I'm just going to give you some measurable numberable stuff. I want X dollars per month. Maybe it's I want X dollars total for the year. Number of clients in my program. Number of clients in the program, and let's just go number of free days, like days off, holidays. Okay, let's just say they're your 4 things. Can you do me a favor right now? And I just want you to come up with your numbers. What do you want your monthly turnover to be? Great. What do you want your number to be at the end of the year? Like how much money we made all together? And it's probably not your monthly number times 12 because it'll ramp up, right? So don't have to type this in for me, but I just want you to get clear on them. And right now, I just want you to think, here's where I am right now, and that's what I want instead. Cool? If you start with outcome, then we're in a position to go, great. I've just built my calendar, and then look back and go, reality check. Will this calendar give me what I really want? Okay. So by the end of the year, I want X. What are your numbers there? Okay. I did an activity with my team where we looked at so we had 2013, 2014, and I went coach marketing members, black belt, Australia, New Zealand, and I went black belt, North America, Europe, kind of southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere, roughly, what the numbers were. And then I had, so this is my current number, and this is the goal number. And then, and then we just had kind of what does that mean in terms of dollars? So that's this per month, that per month, this per month. Awesome. And so that was kind of my simple calculation for the year. in terms of this piece, that and that. Then, like our business is strong, we've been going for a while, and so we've built towards this. We didn't, there was years where we had very few holidays and we had very little money, when we first got started. And it's built to the point where now, if you have a look at our calendar, if you have a look at my calendar, there's 4 months off a year. I mean, that's completely ridiculous, but it's awesome, right? So free days. So don't go nuts on the free days. Just, you want to have, holidays. They don't have to be long. They don't have to be amazing. Even if it's kind of 3 or 4 days away once a quarter, that's great. But whatever you want to have, just want to decide those numbers. So just quickly, if you have got those things decided, those numbers filled in, at least roughly for now, just raise your hand so I know that you, that you're clear. Okay, I'm waiting for you to raise your hand. Please raise everyone and leave it raised up. I'm looking until almost everyone's got their numbers done. Leanne, Walt, great. Suzanne, well done. Stephen, Scott, got that. Pauline, Steve as well. Nick, Nicole, Mike, great. Lisa, Carrie, John. Okay, almost everyone's got them. Okay, I'd say like 90% of us. There's a few who are still working. That's okay. The most important ones are like, what's my monthly number and how many clients do I want, right? Free days, in days off. Dan Sullivan calls them free days. Days off completely away from your business. That'd be a great number to have. And right now, if it's like, I want more, that's cool. And in a minute, we'll put them in. Is that okay? So why do we do outcome first? Well, so then when we build a calendar, we can actually look back and go, well, is this calendar going to give me what I really, really want? And if it's not, well, then, let's rejig the calendar before we commit to the year. All right. So outcome first. I think we can kind of tick that box for most of us. So next is magic. Okay, so magic. I talked before about how Stephen Covey talks about putting the big rocks in first. And so there's lots of different metrics you can measure in your business, lots of numbers that you can track. You can measure, opt-in rates and, new leads on my database and clients and money. But there's one metric that is the number one predictor of your success in the future. And it's different for every business, but it's called the magic metric. It's what's the one number that if I just track that, I'll know that I'm going to be set. And so the number is effectively, the metric we want to track is the number of people in your major conversion tool. So I'm thinking big rocks right now. We want to identify what that magic metric is for you. So in Dale's example, like I told you before, his magic metric is how many people are coming to his sales event. Okay, done. For me, it's how many people are coming to the $1 Million Coach webinar. Done. What's the magic, what's the one kind of conversion tool that makes the biggest difference for you? What's the one thing that makes the biggest difference, that brings in the magic? So the question is, which activity generates you most of your business? And so that may be sales webinar. By the way, we're talking about thing that brings in money. Is that when we talked about milestone in the money making? We need to identify that right now. So maybe it's sales webinar. Maybe it's live event that sells. Maybe it's consultation, like one-on-one consultations that sell. What's the magic metric for you? What's the big rock, the one thing that brings in the cash? Is it an event? Is it webinar? Is it one-on-one appointment? And if it's a bit of everything, I get that. Let's pick one that's going to be our big focus. Okay? What's that one thing for you? Can you type that into the question box for me, please? Verity, I would do for the product, I'd go big pack. Thanks, Bruce. Edward, I'm going to talk about the third one soon, so don't stress, brother. I'll get there, I promise. It's coming in 4 little boxes time. Yes, Fiona, you should. Dan says, when it comes to drawing boxes and squares, I'm no Da Vinci. That's right, brother. Can you change colors? Edward, I don't understand. Move your mouse off the screen, matey. Can't see this image as a placeholder. I can see this thing called this image as a placeholder. I get you. That might have been from before. Strategy session. Yeah, I'm talking about what you want it to be for 2014. What's the one thing that we want to use as our main conversion tool? Grant, let me ask you a really simple way. Do you want to sell one-on-one? Do you want to sell with workshops? Or do you want to sell with webinars? What's the one thing that we're going to use? And by the way, if right now it's one-on-one, put that in. That's totally fine. I just want to know what that is. Cameron says, if I go from webinar and book people into strategy sessions, what's the thing? Well, the thing is how many people can get on the webinar? Because the webinar is the one thing that makes the other thing happen. So it's going to, for you, Cameron, it's webinar. Sales webinar. 2-day event, Stephen. Perfect. It's my event, says Pauline. Great. Webinar, says Lisa. Awesome. It's a consultation, Ellen. Awesome. Teleseminar or webinar, says Mike. Perfect. Webinar seminar. Okay, great. It's people at my live event. So live event is your magic metric we want to track, right? It's an event. It's one-on-one. It'll be sales webinar. Perfect. Cool. So you've got one, right? Helen says, I'm in transition, so I'm not sure. It's been offline media, which is a lead source, cool, with a one-on-one consultation. So the one-on-one consultation right now is the conversion tool, right? It's the one thing that we're going to make sure that is in your calendar. Time to do the sales appointments. Does that make sense? Cameron, happy to answer that a little bit later. Jim says it's webinar. So the number he wants to track is number of people who show up. Edward, that makes lots of sense. Sales webinar. Right, so we've got one, right? Lisa, yes, that's completely fine. Good. Okay. So people have decided. Yay. Awesome. Okay. So the magic we want to do is, if we're going to milestone the money making, what we've just decided is, what is the money making activity for you? All right. In fact, if I gave this a different name to make it kind of fit my point better and be super clear for everybody, let's call this let's do that. The money making, right? What's the thing that you do that makes money? Not what you do to deliver after they've bought. That's your coaching or your program. What's the thing that makes the money? We clear? I think we're clear. You know what? I'm sorry, but I reckon this is clearer, so I'm going to change it here too. Edward says he was having some trouble reading these, so I'm just going to rewrite them. Do, plan, think. Okay. So money making, that's done. You've decided what that is. Awesome. The next thing is this. The next decision we want to make, the next kind of thinking piece, is frequency. Frequency. How often do you need to be doing that money making activity to hit the goal that you had? Right? So is it going to be something you're going to do weekly or monthly or quarterly or 2 times a year or 3 times a year or once a year? What's your frequency? Can you decide that right now? So if your thing is a one-on-one sales appointment, how often do you want to be doing sales appointments? Do you want to be doing them each week? Do you want to be doing a session, every fortnight? Do you want to be doing, strategy sessions or, sales appointments once a month? I don't mean one appointment a month, but like one day a month. Like, how frequently do you want to have time blocked aside to do that thing? If it's a webinar, are you going to do it monthly or every 6 weeks or once a quarter? I'd say once a quarter is not nearly enough. Weekly, fortnightly, monthly. What's your frequency? If it's a live event, how often? Are you going to do it, one big event a year and put all your eggs in that basket, or are you going to do, more often? Are you going to go quarterly? Are you going to go, 3 times a year or twice? What's your frequency going to be? Can you just type in your frequency decision for me? I'd love to see it. 12 a month. Okay, webinars 2 times a quarter. Right, about every 6 weeks. ASA, perfect. Monthly, weekly, monthly, fortnightly. About every 6 weeks. Carrie, perfect. If it's a webinar, that sounds great. Pauline says monthly small boardroom event. Perfect, 6 weeks. Right, once every 2 months, followed by a 6-week program and repeat. Beautiful. Okay, cool. So you made your decision. Loving this. How are we doing so far, team? Are we good? How are we doing so far? We good? Grant says, oh, really? Webinar every 6 weeks? Wow, dude, you can pick the frequency that's going to hit your goals. Yeah, we're rocking this, right? Good to go. Awesome. Okay, let's jump into the next part of our plan here. All right, so now it's time to do the plan. So the first piece we're going to plan is our rocks. This is, by the way, when I say plan, think calendar. So this whole centerpiece here right now, this is get things in the calendar. Cool? Okay, so first about rocks. What I want you to do right now is grab your calendar and just, if you've decided you're going to be running a webinar every 6 weeks, I want you to grab a calendar and then decide, put them in. If you're going to do a live event once a month, what day of the week it is, and put that in your calendar right now. If it's going to be a sales event once a quarter, then I want you to put those in every quarter. Okay? By the way, you can move them around later. Imagine they're written in pencil, not in pen right now. So I want you to put those in. Grab a colored pen and load those puppies in. So what you're doing right now is you're putting those events in. So if you take mine, for example, that's my client calendar, so that's not going to help you. Here we go. Okay, can you see my dark blue? It happens twice in January and then about once a month, right? Usually on the first Thursday of the month. Can you see that? That's a sales webinar, ignition. So those all would go in, for example. Okay. If you're doing live events, see my light blue, $1 Million Coach? I'm doing them twice in Sydney, twice in California. So those go in if your events is your thing. Whatever your thing is, it goes in right now. Okay. I'm just going to give you another 30 seconds to put them in. Please don't get this right. You can shuffle them around, but I want you to get the rocks in so that at least when we shuffle, you're shuffling the right stuff. Is there a best week of the month for webinars? No, there's totally not a best week of the month, Lisa. There's best days of the week, but not best week of the month. Great question. Rough it, dude. Rough it. Please don't be perfect about this. I just want you to get them in, and then we can get them moved. Okay, but if they're in, at least you know what to move, right? What's the best day of a week for a webinar? If I had to pick one day, it'd be Thursday. Okay? I do all of my sales webinars on Thursdays because it gives me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to promote. Cool? Deb, hopefully that helps. Grant, how we doing? John, and for the US, same. Thursday. Which could be Friday morning in Perth if that's your big market, okay? Scott, it matters not. If we're talking webinar, go Wednesday or Thursday. Pick the day that feels best to you at a time that parents can make, i.e. 7 p.m. or something, right? Great, Grant. That's great. Awesome. Cherie, how we doing? Bruce, how we going? Brett, talk to me. All right, awesome. So Just pause what you're doing and just take 5 seconds. Just let me know how we're going. Bruce says, I'm going. That's awesome. Perfect. Bruce Parker, meet Bruce Wilson. Two Bruces, both awesome gents. Going, great, beautiful. Very colorful calendar. Yeah, loving that, right? I'm doing it. John, that's perfect. Don't get this right. Just work on improving it, right? All right, dudes, let's pause. Whatever color you've just written that in, I would just want you to find in the blank calendar down the bottom. Just see this left-hand box under the first M for Monday. This little box just down there. I just want you to color that in, and in that little box there, write down whatever your conversion tool is, your money making. Please put that in right now. Just whatever it is. So that might be sales webinar, or if it's got a name, write the name. Or if it's sales event, write that in. Or if it's got a name, $1 Million Coach Intensive, write that in. Cool, and put the color. Done that? Awesome. You're doing great. Let's keep going. So we've got our rocks in. We've loaded the rocks. Next, we want to load in the, oops, what's going on? Where did you come from, Red? Next, we want to load in the pebbles. What are the pebbles? Well, the pebbles are everything you need to do to deliver what you sell in your rock. Okay, so for me, that would be my black belt webinar like we're on right now. That would be the 2-day intensives that we run and the Q&A calls. Now, if you're doing one-on-one coaching, that is, it's probably coaching sessions. And so you just might go, well, you know what? I want to coach back-to-back on Tuesdays, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever your days are, and put those in right now. Does that make sense? If it's one-on-one. If it is something more leveraged and scalable, like a group program, well, when do you want to teach your classes? Is that Thursday for you, or is that Friday for you, or is that Monday for you? Whatever the day is. If your business has live events as a delivery component, then put those in. Are they 3 times a year or 4 times a year? And just put those in right now. So pebbles are everything you need to do to deliver on the promise. So I want you to pick a different color if you've got one. Put the label in down the bottom. Put the label in down the bottom. So in this box right here, you'd go your Q&A webinar, and it's green or whatever the color is. Okay? All the pebbles are going to go in. Deb says, I'm tempted to get it right, but I'm breathing through it. Keep breathing, Deb. You're doing great. By the way, this is calendar version 1.0, right? Once we're done, once we're all finished, you're going to check it against holidays and public holidays. And you're going to take the 1.0, which you've kind of scribbled all over, and you're going to make a 2.0 that's real glossy and really nice. Cool? So don't stress. Okay, the difference between rocks and pebbles. Rocks are what do you do, Dan, that sells your stuff, the money making. So just to be super, super clear, rocks are those things, the thing that makes the money, right? Pebbles are what do you do to deliver to the clients. In other words, what do you need to do to fulfill the promise that you made in the sales event? Yeah. So for you, I know one of the things you're thinking about doing is having an event where you sell people into I think it was like a 5-day summit. So your 5-day summit would be one of the delivery events. It's a pebble that we put in next. Dan, does that help? Deb, don't worry. Nicole's breathing as well. Welcome, brother. Okay, how are we going? Most important right now is that you pick a color and you put them in. Now, if you're doing lots of one-on-one coaching, that's going to fill up your calendar pretty quick with, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday I coach. Well, is there a way we can compress that down to maybe 3 days a week or 2 days a week where it's a bit busier, if that's what you like, but it gives you 1 or 2 days to do your stuff too, right? Or that you coach week on, week off, week on, week off, or however you structure it. Asa, I'm getting there. Good call. Asa's asking, where does content creation go? Well, that is, it's something you do to be ready for a pebble, but I'm not going to call that a pebble. I'm going to call that sand in a second. Is that cool? Cool. Okay, just quickly checking in. Are we good? Do you have any questions about pebbles? I'm going to give you 20 seconds to ask a question about pebbles right now before we move on. Once you get your calendar locked and loaded. 20 seconds to ask me a question before we move forwards. Pebbles and Bam Bam next. That's right, Bruce. Bam Bam is totally next. Good call. If we're doing social networking on a daily basis, is that a pebble? Yeah, I would say that's not a pebble. That's just an activity that you need to remember to do. If you just call it every day as, do something on Facebook, I think that's a waste of a calendar. The calendar is big picture activities. And then in your weekly planning, when you plan out your weeks and plan out your days, Leanne, then social media activity would go in. Okay. I'm thinking about what do you do to deliver to clients? What's the important stuff right now? So, Leanne, I know that you want to run retreats, outdoor adventure retreats. And so your retreats would go in the retreats of Pebbles. Does that make sense? Stephen, you're welcome. Carrie, 2 to 3 events a month. We're talking about rocks, or we're talking about pebbles here. It sounds like we're talking about rocks. If there's sales, if there's sales events. Carrie, is that right? Lisa's saying, are my pebbles the group coaching calls for my membership program? Assuming I funnel people from my, yeah, correct. Your pebbles are group coaching calls for members, webinars where you teach member stuff, events where you do stuff with members. Anything to do with your clients, that is you delivering on the promise is pebble. Yeah, Carrie says, those are the rocks, but the pebbles that go along with promoting them all. Hey, Carrie, I'm just going to unmute you because I really want to help, okay? And I'm not as clear as I need to be. So, Carrie, just stand by. I'm going to unmute your line. Carrie Kaufman, ladies and gentlemen. Carrie Kaufman.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, dude. How are you?
Good, thanks.
All right, so help me. I just want to make sure I totally understand. So you've got 2 or 3 events a month between webinars and live events, and they're all sales events. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds like a lot. Tell me about that.
It does.
Okay.
The live events I've been doing for a long time, and I've got a pretty good system for that. The webinars are the new stuff for me.
Yeah.
But I don't want to stop doing I've already got a system for, and it's been producing results.
Cool.
But I eventually want to shift away, but the scales haven't tipped yet. So I kind of feel like I need to be doing both until I can get some.
You need to straddle both camps. I understand that 100%. At the start of this year, I was like, never done a live event, but I really want to. But I don't want to put all my eggs in the live event basket because I'm not sure it's going to work as well as I thought. So webinars have been consistent, and so this year I straddled both, just like you're going to do, and that's completely okay. I think that's awesome. So in terms of timing, then let's just think about frequency. The live event is a monthly thing, and that sounds like that's working. Do we need 2 webinars a month, or is 1 okay?
The webinars are once a month, and the live events are 1 to 2 per month.
Oh, okay. I understand. Yeah, no, dude, I don't mind that at all. It is a lot, and so what I'd like you to be doing is when you promote. Are you doing regular content to database that isn't, hey, buy my stuff, come to my event? Some kind of blog or video or newsletter yet, or not yet?
That is on the 2014 plan. Yes.
All right, cool. So here's what's going to happen. When you get really good at doing that stuff, I mean, not even really good. When you start doing that stuff once a week, something useful to your list, you will get people signing up for your event and your webinar just by the fact that I'm now on your web page looking at your video, and right next to it there's a post, there's a button to register for the webinar.
Gotcha.
So you'll find you won't have to
reduce the email blast.
Exactly. Yeah, you won't have to hit it quite as hard, and you'll find that your content will help cross-sell to your conversion tools. Does that help?
Yeah, that's a really great point. Thank you.
Awesome. No worries, dude. Well done. Thanks for asking. job, Carrie. You're a legend. Asa says, this webinar we're on right now is a pebble. Correct. In my calendar, this webinar is a pebble. Please don't take that disrespectfully, but yes. Good call. All right. I think pebbles are sorted. So next, you would think that next would go, sand. But before we put the sand in, what I want to do is I want to do the reality check and the stress test. Okay, the reality check and the stress test. And so the reality check is this. I want you to look at the rocks you've put in, and just say, hey, if I did all those rocks, am I on track for the numbers I really want? Okay. If I do those events and we do, and they do pretty well, not like incredible, 50 times better than I've ever done in the past, but if I do those events and I'm pretty good at them, will I hit my goals? Okay. Can you just answer that question for me right now? I just want you to have a look. If you do those big rocks in the frequency you've talked about, will you hit your goals in terms of money and clients? Just type in a yes or a no for me. Yeah, looks good, right? Over and above, yes. Cool. So reality check, tick, right? Beautiful. So then the stress test. The stress test is this. If you look at all of the pebbles, basically, let me ask the stress question a really easy way. If you smash it like you've just planned, will your current pebbles be able to fit the new demand that clients have put on you? Right? So if it's all one-on-one coaching and you've built all these events to like fill your coaching practice with 1,000 new one-on-one clients, the stress test is, if I get the 1,000 new clients, will my model break or will I be okay? Okay. So I just want you to think about that right now. If you hit the goals because your rocks work and you make the money you want, you bring on the clients you want, will the current pebbles pass the stress test? That's the question I've got right now. I just want you to answer that question. Will the pebbles I've got in place handle the stress that my rocks will build? I still need to shift some. Great. Yes. Only if I don't have to do anything else, Ellen. Okay, that's interesting to me. Yes, my focus for the webinar will be group coaching through webinars. Perfect, Anil. Then no worries at all. Yes. Yes, in theory, says Leanne. I love that. I love the quote. Yeah, in theory, yes. Right? All I'm saying is if all your pebbles are one-on-one coaching slots and there's 10 a week and you put in rocks to bring on 25 or 50 new clients, then we're in serious trouble. Okay? Right. Our goal is to have a model where you can comfortably, with your rocks, bring on, at least a 50% increase in new clients and money each year. Is that cool? That's my minimum goal for you. 50% more revenue and clients than this year. So the pebbles are got to be able to fit that stress test. Just wanted to check. Are we good? Lisa says, seems to work in my fantasy land. Cool. That's where we're going to start. We're going to start in your brain and we're going to move out from there. Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, that's awesome. So the next step when it comes to doing is to tweak. And so if the reality check had some question marks about it, will I hit my goals? And the stress test was, I'm not sure. Then you're going to need to rejig your calendar a little bit. You're also going to want to check against, so I'll do reality check, stress test, and holidays. So I want you to check against public holidays. I made the stupid mistake this year of running my $1 Million Coach big sales event that I was, expecting and hoping for big things from. I happened to book that in on Father's Day here in Australia, which was completely stupid. Luckily, I've got enough of a community and enough love that, it filled anyway. And, we still did incredibly well, but that's a big mistake. That was a bit stupid. So reality check, stress test, and after the webinar's done, you're going to check it against public holidays in your area. Okay. For webinars, doesn't matter so much. But for live events, really, really important. All right. Just check any more questions I need. Yeah, Asa says, as long as my pebbles get more leverage, but right now it's all one-on-one. So Asa, the question I've got for you is, um, at some point during the year when your rocks kick in, your pebbles are going to need to leverage. So what's the leverage pebble that you've got in mind? Are you thinking webinars? Is it going to be group coaching, or what's it going to be? Deb says, this is so cool. I'm here in Noosa on holidays. Beautiful spot. Family's down at the restaurant eating pancakes for breakfast. This is super exciting. The poached eggs can wait. Totally agree. Or Greek National Day. That's right. Grant is asking for a calendar with extra days. 365 is not enough. Jeff says, oh, snap, Taki, love my new plan. More work, but looks fun. There goes my 1 day a week. What's R, S, and H? Right, Edward. It's reality check, stress test, check it against public holidays and school holidays. Okay? All right. Okay, Asa, that's fine. Lisa's saying, are we supposed to already put in our holidays? Hey, I'm getting there right now. It's actually coming up in the next block. Lisa, great call. Perfect, Alan. That makes sense. Beautiful. All right. So the next one is we've done rocks, we've done pebbles, and our next one is to add the sand. Now, sand is everything else. There's business sand and personal sand. I want to start with personal sand first. The most important one is holidays, time off. Remember, right here, we talked about how many free days do you want? Right? How many free days? So they're going to go in now. Now, when I do mine, I actually put my holidays in first. My job with you, my primary commitment to you is to help make sure that you get the cash that you want and you do it in a way that's sustainable and gives you energy. So we're going to do holidays now. If you want to kind of lock in holidays first, that's totally okay. In our calendar, like I said before, there's a lot of holidays. You don't have to have you don't have to be taking huge breaks if you can afford it, and if you want to, then go for it. But we've built to this over several years, maybe 6 years, to get to this point. So what I'd say for you is, you want to be having, regular time off to recharge and rejuvenate. Dan Sullivan calls them free days, 24-hour periods with no work, no email, no business thinking at all, just enjoying the good life. Okay, recharging with your fam and your friends, doing whatever you do. So I want you to just make a note and put in under sand. We're going to go holidays. Oops. All right, so let's go. Okay, so we're going to go business. And we're going to go personal. Oops, I reckon down here is probably easier. So, under personal, what have we got? Well, we've got holidays. You might have, so I reckon, at least once a quarter, you want a few days off, right? Minimum. If you haven't had any holidays ever, at least once a quarter, I need you to take at least kind of 3 or 4 days off. You should be taking weekends off or regular time each week. You can't go 7 days a week forever. You'll die, right? So holidays. Maybe you do, massage. Haircut, beauty stuff, if that's your thing. But for me, massage goes on here. What else? Date nights with your spouse. Sometimes date nights with your kids. Major school events if you do have kids, or sports events if you do have kids. Put them in. Okay, so that's personal stuff. Anything that you do that makes the rest work smoothly and great. Dale Beaumont is a complete classic. I find this really amusing. I would never do this, but he's so business focused that it gets to the point where some of his friends start to feel a little bit unloved, like they haven't seen him for ages and ages and ages. So 4 times a year, once a quarter, he has a friendship delivery event. Like that's literally, it's got a friendship delivery event where he has something on at his house. In fact, it was last Friday. Something on at his house. 100 people come, there's barbecue and food and this and that, and all of his friends come so that, once a quarter he can tick the friend thing off his list. What do you reckon of that? Who's up for a friendship delivery event, or who's a little bit more organic and needs that? Totally. Anil says he put his holidays in first. Good call, mate. That's how I do it as well. Lisa says, I do webinars during my breaks, right? My holidays are in green. You'll notice that sometimes when I'm away, Jamie does the webinar. So I flex that, right? Sometimes when I'm away, Jamie will do the webinar. If I've got great internet, then for me, honestly, this is fun for me. So I'm really happy to, in the middle of my break, I've got a month, dude. I'm happy to do like an hour and a half worth of delivery. What do you reckon? Lisa? Yeah, so friendship delivery event, that's an option. On the business side of things, here are some things you need to put in. By the way, I should have got you to do this first, and I feel like an idiot for not. You need to put in black belt events. Dude, what was I thinking? I should have said that right at the start. Black belt events. And so the other calendar you got has all of the black belt events for the US and for Australia. So I want you to put those in, please. The 3 2-day events for black belt. That's kind of important. In fact, that's massively important. So otherwise, how are we going to deliver on the plan if I can't show you how to do it? So you're going to put in your black belt events. You're going to have time for planning. Maybe once a quarter you do a quarterly review. If you run webinars, like if you're going to have like a curriculum of like one webinar a month for 12 months, take a day, put a day in your calendar to decide what the content is for all of your webinars. I've got my content plan for 2014 nailed. Every webinar, every Q&A call, the 10 minutes at the start is kind of already decided. Every live event for next year is decided. It's done. So I'm just going to be like a man on train tracks working the plan. It's going to be fun, right? So business, planning, black belt. What else? If there's times when somebody asked before about content creation. So in my calendar, if I think about a black belt event, the 2-day intensives, if this is let's call this a 1-month calendar, with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And my events in Australia, they're Thursday, Friday. In the US, they're Saturday, Sunday, whatever. Let's just say it's Saturday, Sunday. My team knows that the 2 weeks before a black belt event, I'm in lockdown and they don't talk to me, right? So this whole period here and this whole period here is what it takes me to put on a 2 days for you. Obviously, there's a ton of thinking and prep that goes in even beforehand, but the 2 weeks before, I'm in lockdown. So content creation, you want to make sure that that's in, and that's going to be some sand for you as well. So if you run a webinar a month, put in some time to figure out all your webinars, and then the actual creation of the webinars will be much, much easier. Does that make sense? Okay, how are we doing so far? Dudes, just wanted to check in. Noel says calendar's done. Brilliant, well done. Also, you need time to make up for when life throws you a curveball. Yes. Noel's going well. Verity's good. How you going? I want to hear from everybody, please. There's like 50 of us on the line. How you going? 40 of us, 43 of us on the line. Scott's great. Pauline's loving it. Jeff's sweet. John's good, man. How we doing, dudes? Scott Wilson's gold. Cherie's getting organized at 5 a.m. Perth time. Yeah, baby. It's coming along really well. Ellen, I'm really proud. Well done. Sand looks like it will take a lot of time for you. Yeah. So sand might take up a lot of time. I want you to have some breathing room in your calendar. Stu's doing well. Helen's okay, good, which sounds like it's like a 4 out of 10. Helen, am I about right for you? Suzanne feels really good about this. Brilliant. Got my holidays in, Carrie. Well done. Bill's good. David's all good. Anil's feeling super organized about the new year. But Anil, I've got a feeling that that's how you are most years. You strike me as a super organized sort of a guy. Grant's excited like Big Kev. Bruce is still going. Good job, brother. That's fine. Debbie's excited. Cam's pumped. Mike's doing well. Mike Allen's really clear about next year's looking great. Awesome. Getting there. I feel like I've got a lot of stuff to get in. I understand that. Edward's in the middle of a big transition from one-on-one to one-to-many and not 100% sure about the second half of the year. So, Edward, you know what I would do, mate? I would make 2 calendars and I'd do a plan A, which is how you want it to be. So I'd kind of keep the first half of the year kind of like it is, like it is for current model. And towards the second half of the year, I would install some of the new stuff, and then I would I'd have a plan B plan, which is a little bit more flexible. And then each quarter, I would check in and say, which calendar are we on for the next quarter? Does that make sense, Edward? Just to give you a little bit of wiggle room. Andrea, so glad I booked in time after this to do heaps and heaps of thinking and planning. Well done, Andrea. Good wake-up call, says Fiona. Had a basic calendar last year. Much better 2013. Loving the distinctions today. Nick, you're welcome. Conference call tonight over. Scotch to discuss with Walt. Well done. Working it. If a webinar falls on a holiday like a Christmas, do I just skip that one? No, just move it, dude. Move it to another day. Yep. If you've said they're going to do 12, do 12. Just drag it around. That's completely fine. Noel, for your information, sold 3 $21,000 contracts this month using a 9boxes high-priced coaching model. Woohoo! No, Lloyd, you're a rock star, dude. Legend. Well done. Actually, thought of you and George 2 days ago. I bought a bag from Alchemy Goods, which is a Seattle company. It's like a messenger bag made out of recycled bike tubes. It's freaking awesome. I thought about you guys. Helen just needs a day to get all the details in. Great. Yeah, totally agree, Helen. That's 100% right. Edward, just quickly to explain Plan B, make a Plan A calendar for exactly how you want it to be. Just give yourself a little bit of wiggle room to go, you know what, if it's, this is my Plan A, it's going to all work smashingly, and maybe my Plan B is, the first half is exactly like it is, and maybe you flex the second half a little bit depending on how you're going. Okay? I'm just saying, you know what, Ed? Let's you and I talk offline because I think I'll be able to help you better that way. I know, sweet, it sounds like it makes sense to you. Beautiful. And all I do is every quarter, just go, how am I doing? Am I on track? What do I need to change? Cool? Alrighty. We're doing well, team. Let's land this plane. All right. So let's just review. We've got clear outcomes for the year, right? We've decided what our money-making activity is. We've figured out frequencies. So all the thinking is done now. Then we've got the plan in. We've got our big rocks in. We've got our pebbles in. Yes, the big rocks are all our sales events, our money making. The pebbles are what do we need to do to deliver. Then we've done the reality check and the stress test. We've tweaked if we need to. And by the way, I reckon all of you are going to do a little bit of tweaking, this afternoon or tomorrow, or book in your 50 minutes next week to do it, or a day if you need, whatever time you need to kind of get this right. This is the most important thing you can do this side of New Year. It's just to get your calendar done. So next year it's about rocking the plan. Cool. You've got your sand in. So that's, planning days for you, family time, black belt events are in. Black belt events are in. This is your subconscious mind telling you to make sure your black belt events are in, right? Black belt events are in. Everything important is in. Your sand is done. So the final step is this. We've laid down the train tracks. Now our job is to work the plan. Right? So here's the thing. You've now got, an 80% done, really rocking new year. Your new year is preloaded. You know what to do and when to do it. It gives you just a ton of certainty and clarity and confidence around how next year's going to go because your cash flow will follow your calendar. I had this slide right here that I just realized I didn't fully explain. Cash flow follows your calendar. The gentleman in the photo right now, this guy, his name is Peter Drucker. He's one of the greatest management thinkers of all time. And the quote which jumps out at me is, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And so if I look at what you've just done, you've created 2014. You're sculpting it to your will. You're making it show up the way you want it to show up. So that now you're the one who's driving the diary. You're the one who's in control. You're not in the trunk, the boot anymore. You're not, on the console or on the roof or running along behind it. You're in the driver's seat. You've thought once. You've done really well. It wasn't even that hard, right? You're doing really, really well. You thought once. You've mastered the money making. You've put in all of the big rocks, the most important stuff. And now it's just time to work the plan, to follow the rule of 5 ones and do the thing that you've got on the plan. The track set list. So that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to roll. So, what I want to know from you is this. What has been most valuable for you from this session? What's been most valuable for you from this session? The doing of it. Yeah, not just learning, says Ellen. Yeah, I agree. The doing of it. Not just learning, but doing. Walt says being invited to my place for a party, a friendship delivery event. I love that idea. I think it's hilarious. The last 90 minutes have been really helpful. Fantastic. I'm really glad. Perfect. Actually doing the calendar, says Helen. Imagine we could do a calendar in 90 minutes over a webinar. Isn't that amazing? By the way, this would be something great. Would this be something good you could do with your clients? Good integration and reinforcement of what I teach. Need to hear from you again. Dan, happy to help. Took it from a thought about vaguely and then put it to paper. Dan, hey, Tom, I know you're on the line right now. Can you just make a note to reach out to Edward Plant, and Dan Flores? If we can do just a quick check-in with each of those, please, that'd be awesome. Clarity. Not to overcomplicate it, but to keep my plan simple, says Leanne. The calming effect of simplifying. Isn't it amazing? There's just the power of less is just beautiful. By the way, great quote. Please listen. This was amazing. Hit me like a ton of bricks earlier this year. If you look at all the demands on you right now, I'd say that most of us have got too much in our world, right? And this guy said, since when was the answer to too much more? Right? Stu, I love the way you said the calming effect of simplifying. Love that. Walt says the plan. I feel so relieved to have a concrete game plan. Really clear. Focus for 2014. Do, plan, think matrix covers everything, Suzanne. The culling, becoming specific. Thanks, man. Scott, you're welcome. Scott Hardy. Clarity and direction. Work the plan. Awesome, says John. Identifying and focusing on the money making. Perfect. There's a great black belt called Dove who's not on the webinar with us today, who asked me a question in the Q&A about 2 weeks ago, and he said, I've got this option and all these things I should be doing. What do you think I should do? And I remember reading an article about the America's Cup team. Not this year. I think it was last year's America's Cup, last season's America's Cup. And they asked this amazing question. They had one question that helped them make all of their decisions. And so one of the guys suggested, that it was the day before the big race or the week before the big race, and somebody says, maybe we should get all the boys out and do like a team building day. That'd be awesome. And so somebody asked the magic question, and here was the question. This was what they asked. Oops. Will it make the boat go faster? Yeah, team building day sounds great, but will it make the boat go faster? Well, not really. Okay, so we won't do it. Right? The money making, that money make activity, that big rock that we put in, is the answer to the will it make the boat go faster. So what I want you to do right now is just to work out what your version of this question is. So it's not will it make the boat go faster, but it's will it what? What's your version of that question? That anytime a good opportunity comes up this next 12 months, you can ask the magic question. Will it fill my program faster? Or is it a distraction? What's your version of that question? Pauline says it looks really doable. I'm going to drive my calendar this year. Fantastic. Putting the sales days in first. Fill in the calendar and the structure of it. Think once. Love it. My 2013 was way too distracting. Looking forward to the focus. This looks like it would be well of interest to people in January who procrastinated. Yes, this would be a great thing for you to do with all your clients. Tom, can you reach out to Walter Wise? He wants to talk to you about a Coach Marketing Ninja, a virtual assistant. Yeah, the few who do are the envy of the many who just watch. Great session, gave me so much clarity, Cherie. A few people saying the sound is not great. Will it fill my groups faster? Will it help me fulfill my 2014 goals? Perfect. You get the idea, right? Oops. Beautiful. All right. Perfect. So here's the thing. Now you've got a calendar. Now you've got a plan. And now your job is really simple. It's about implementation. Here's what I'd love you to do, please. Can you, so your next step is really simple. Your next step is just to do a little bit of tweaking on your own and finalize your calendar. Okay, so what I'd love you to do right now is just like book in a time for you to tweak. You might do it right now because the webinar's finishing in 2 minutes. I want you to book in a time and tweak your calendar. If it needs tweaking, get it locked and loaded. And then I want you to take a photo of it and send it to blackbelt@moreclients.com.au. If you're a black belt member, I want to see your calendar, right? Send it to me, and that way we'll know what you're working on and how we can best help and serve in the new year. Cool? Send me a calendar. I'd love to see it. There was one other thing I wanted you to do. What was that? No, that's it. Yeah, I want you to take a calendar, send it to me. If you do this, if you do this, you've got the ultimate yearly plan. And now your job is just to think less, do more. You need less input and more output. Please write that down. Less input, more output. You don't need to hear from a million voices next year. You need you and me and a plan. You get that? The person who wins is the person who has, who's so busy doing that they don't need 50,000 voices conflicting and pulling them in the other direction. I want the voices in your head to be, hopefully not the voices, the voice in your head. By the way, if you've got voices in your head, we're all in trouble. I want the voice in your head to be louder than the voices outside of it. Now you've got a clear plan. It's easy for you to say yes to things, and it's really easy for you to say no to things. The last thing I just wanted to share is this. In your calendar, if yours looks anything like mine, and it'll probably look a little bit different, but your calendar's still going to have a whole bunch of white space. What do you do in the white space? Well, you do whatever needs to get done that week. That's when you work on your marketing. That's when you meet with your team if you've got a team. That's when you kind of get stuff done. One of the things I'd encourage you to add, if you haven't already, is just a marketing Monday. Half a day every Monday, first half a day of the Monday, just to work on your marketing. Cool? If you haven't already, I think a marketing Monday would be a really good sand activity to put in. Cool? Guys, this has been really fun today. I'd love to see your calendar. Please just type in a yes if you will send me that. Fiona says, how do you color the PDF? Awesome question. Well, that's a brilliant question. Firstly, you could kind of color on it just with a pen like you have. I've got it in Pages format. I don't have it in Microsoft Word, but we can try and export it and see if that will work. And I will send you that. You and me and a plan. Love it, Scott. We're going to do this. What system did you use to get all the colors going? I just used Apple's Pages program, which is just like Microsoft Word. Lots of people saying yes, please. That'd be good. Yeah. Lots of people asking for it in Pages can. Yeah, I'll put that up on the website on the Black Belt and send you a message when it's done. Word, I will try. I can't guarantee it'll look exactly the same because formatting sometimes gets a bit janky, but I'll do my best. Pages totally can. Okay, Word, I'll try. Cool, guys. Hey, last question, just a little bit of feedback from me. It'll only take 10 seconds. What percentage done do you think your calendar is right now? Like 100% done, locked and loaded, 80% done, like I'm most of the way there and I just need to tweak it a little bit, 30% done, I got a bunch of work to do. I just, kind of a little bit of feedback from me would be great. 80% done, 60% done, 15% done, 50%, 40%, 70%, 80%, 70%, 60%, 50% going strong, 70%. Perfect. Okay, so we're in progress, right? We'll be locked and loaded in the next couple of days. Beautiful. All right, guys, well done. High five to you. Really, really well done. Super pumped. Love doing this session. I've got a workshop downstairs that started about half an hour ago, so I'm going to jump into, and I will talk to you soon. People in California, I'll see you on Sunday at True Foods at 1 o'clock. Let's have a good time. Thanks, Fiona. Thanks. Appreciate the compliment. Lots of people saying thank you so much. Have a great day. Have an awesome week. Lock and load this calendar and send it to me. Over and out. Laters.